And when I think of somebody who I respect as a person of integrity, they are honest, are trustworthy, they're respectable, they're respectful. I think they're consistent in what they do and how they show up.
It's about being able to understand those values then, be very conscious of the values and the beliefs, and then being able to have how you act, your behavior, be in alignment. That's being a person of integrity.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. I'm DocShellie.
And I'm Carla. And we are starting a whole new segment this time. We're going to be delving into the topic of integrity. I know.
Like little sound effects.
It is a very full, rich topic.
Indeed, it is.
Yes. So what we're going to do is spend some episodes talking about it. First, take a look at what do we really mean? When we hear the word integrity, when we think we're observing something that has to do with integrity, what's really going on? So we want to define it and then explore some other elements of how it plays into our lives.
Yes, indeed. It's an everyday occurrence, whether it's a lack of integrity or it's someone filled with integrity.
That's right. That's right. In fact, thinking about that, the notion of integrity, it's something that doesn't get a whole lot of external acknowledgement. But I think when we see acts that are so clearly coming from a place of integrity, we can't help but feel ourselves to be emboldened by that example of being able to set forth in an uncompromising way with clear values that are being demonstrated through the acts, through the words, or through lack of taking action where others of less integrity might find themselves just jumping into the fray.
Yeah, so true. We see examples of it every day with every interaction with people, whether it's out at the store, calling to cancel your cable. Not that I have any experiences with that. Or my favorite, canceling a credit card that took me an hour and a half one time.
Oh,
my dad even said, I didn't know you were trying to break up with somebody. I said, I was trying to cancel a credit card.
So let's define integrity. Let's talk about what are the key elements of that. When we say that word, what are we really reflecting?
Yeah, when I think of somebody who I respect as a person of integrity, they are honest, sometimes to a fault. They are trustworthy. They're respectable. They're respectful. I think they're consistent in what they do and how they show up.
There's an authenticity.
That's a good word, yes. Yeah.
You can't fake integrity.
Amen. That is true. And I think that you have integrity as part of your personal operating system. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a different level of integrity. And I think I might be jumping ahead a little bit here, but I think when there's times where our values systems don't line up with somebody else's value system, in our minds, that could become a question of integrity. Mm-hmm. Or if you are at a company whose values seemingly line up and then you find out they don't, that can cause some integrity issues and some core value issues.
Those challenges. And this is one of those many times when trusting one's internal barometer, that gut check. Yes. Both in terms of observing this kind of the behaviors that go along with a person of integrity and authenticity, and those that don't, that your gut knows before your head does. It feels as though your body is going to respond or does respond. Maybe it's that whole reptilian back of the brain, bottom of the brain thing that's from a survival point of view.
Yeah, the gut brain is real. And I tell you, the one time in my life I didn't listen to it, to this day, it was the worst career move I ever made. Mm-hmm. But I really do try to check in with my gut and try to tell the difference of, is this pushing on a core value? Is this an integrity thing? Is this just nervousness or excitedness? And kind of double click onto what's the gut telling you.
Yep. So it's about recognizing the importance of integrity both personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
It's about trust. It's about credibility. It's about being a person of integrity. So if we were to think, and I'd ask you all to be thinking about, who are the people in your life? Who are the people in your life that really emulate this? When you look at them, there is not a question in your mind that this person is one of integrity. What are the things you pick up on? Who are those people that you look to as those beacons? That this is a person who's not going to compromise what they do or how they do it, despite there maybe being great pressure to instead go a different route. Just check for yourself who around you is that kind of a model. Check for yourself how you would stand up to that scrutiny. What do people look at in you that demonstrates your authenticity, your consistency, your integrity?
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a person, Michelle, that stood out for you as a real model of integrity, I have a great deal of ease finding people who would not.
I say the list is long of people that I think, I won't say completely lack integrity, but have those moments that really stand out where there was a great deal of lack of integrity.
I wonder if our listeners might find themselves having that same kind of challenge.
I'm sure.
That it's much easier to come up with those who have really violated that.
Well, because that's the story, is that someone has violated the integrity and it created an emotion, and that emotion stuck. So those are the easy ones to remember. I think, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm gonna.
Do it, girl.
I had a couple people that worked for me at one point in time, and we all were being laid off. And I wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. And so I bent over backwards to let them know these are resources. I'll give you referrals. I'm not supposed to, but I will anyway, because that's who I am. So I may violate a company rule, but I don't work there anymore. So I'm going to do that. And I was passing leads on to them, and a couple of them said, why are you trying to help me so much? Look out for yourself. And I said, I'm going to be fine. I will be fine. I've been through this before. It's not my first rodeo. Mm-hmm. You're at the beginning of your career. I'm at the tail end of mine. And so I kept passing leads on to them and connecting them with people and opening my network to them. And one of them said to me, I really appreciate the integrity you have in this process, because not very many people who were also laid off very unexpectedly would care as much as you do about your team. And I said, that's who I am. I care about each of you as individuals and as human beings, and I want to make sure you're all right. That was one of the reasons I stayed working for that company as long as I did, because I should have left. But I didn't want to leave my team.
It's a great example. And those were very tough times. I know.
Yeah.
I was by your side, at least even just at a distance, but you knew I was there.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's very tough times.
And when I think in those challenging times is when integrity really shows up, where you really see who people are. And you may have had some suspicions of somebody, and they're maybe putting on a front, and then something happens where it's a tough time. And that, I feel like that's really when people show up and show out who they are. Sometimes it works out well, and sometimes you're like, I knew it.
Yes. Okay, so as you think about those examples in your own life, there's another opportunity to reflect on those as a mirror for your own self, your own way of showing up. It's been said so many different ways that when we observe something in somebody else, and especially if we get critical about it, it's somehow related to something that's going on for us. It's back to the story, but it's also about being real familiar with things that maybe are being reflected from me in my own life.
Yeah, I've heard several psychologists say that the thing that kind of bugs you about other people is that which bugs you about yourself. And it's highlighted in other people because you so easily recognize it.
You're observing.
Yeah.
You're not, you can see it from the outside.
Yeah.
From the inside, not so easily.
Yeah.
So we recognize that a person of integrity is an important force in our lives, whether it's personal or professional, and that being authentic and consistent and trustworthy are really important elements everywhere, in every part of our lives. So what about being able to cultivate integrity?
For yourself?
Well, let's start there.
I think I said it at the beginning. I think when we think about integrity, it's, for me, the way I wrap my head around what is integrity. It's your core operating system. There are things that you will accept and there's things that you will not accept in your life. And there's ways that you will act and ways you prefer not to act. And all of that create your core values, and integrity is often wrapped up in a value. But I think there's a lot of individual values that make up integrity. So again, being honest, being respectful, being trustworthy, those are the kinds of values that equate to integrity in my eyes. But that's really your operating system. So you see people that are chronic liars, chronic one-uppers. Those things make me question what kind of operating system you have. Somewhere in your past, there's been a little chip removed. And that might be from a life experience. Mm-hmm. That could be a legit medical reason, or you might just be a jerk and you just might like the impact that you have on people around you.
I'm thinking right now about the segment we just closed on boundaries. Mm-hmm. When you talk about that operating system and keeping yourself safe, and within understanding the boundaries aren't for everybody else, they're for yourself. And this is kind of like the oil in the engine. Your integrity is what keeps that all working well together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about being able to understand those values then, be very conscious of the values and the beliefs, and then being able to have how you act, your behavior, be in alignment. Mm-hmm. That's being a person of integrity. So back to the boundaries, because we had so much to say about boundaries, and here we are back again, because all of this really it's all this 3D connection of all of these elements that make up who we are and how we are in the world.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
That's the word I was looking for. There's this ball.
You were describing it really well. But yeah, it is. It all makes up who we are as an individual, and we are complex human beings. And we're filled with emotions and values and experiences, and some are good and some are bad and some are positive and some are not. And all of those experiences and learnings make up who we are. But at the core of who we are, we have this operating system. And to me, that's integrity.
Wonderful. So what are some things we can do to work on our integrity?
I'm going to go back to the S word, self-reflection. I'm pretty sure I have said that word in every single episode we've done so far. But self-reflection is huge. If you've listened to us before, y'all know I spend a lot of time journaling and sitting in self-reflection. And that question I ask myself at the end of every day, were my words and actions worthy of respect? That is about integrity for me. Mm. And most of the time I get to say, yes, I'm good. Every once in a while I'm like, ugh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Or perhaps I shouldn't have done whatever it is I did. And nothing super egregious, but when I violate my own integrity, it hurts my heart. Mm-hmm. It may not have even had an impact on someone else, but I know what I did, and I know it was wrong, and I know it was against my value system.
It's about what you do when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
And whether somebody's looking or not, it matters.
Yeah.
It matters being in alignment with what I have established as my core beliefs, my value system.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
When it's like, I may have said something to you that offended you, and I will, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that. And I come back and apologize to you, and you're like, whatever. It was not a big deal. So like many people, I'm harder on myself than anyone else ever will be. And I think a lot of us are like that. But yeah, it's just that it's that internal operating system for me. And self-reflection really helps you evaluate it, make tweaks and tunes to it where you need to. And it can help hold yourself accountable to honoring that value system that's important to you.
And I'm believing that with that self-reflection, it also helps strengthen you. So when you get into challenging situations, it isn't really a stretch of any kind because you are in tune with your core values. You reflect on it every day.
Right.
So when we speak of integrity, we're going to be speaking more about it and being able to strengthen it on our own journeys.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about it today, to introduce it, it's really an invitation for all of us to reflect on your values, reflect on your alignment in how you're acting with those values in mind as guidance. What's your integrity quotient?
Yeah, I will go back to, are your words and actions aligned with where you want to be and what you want your integrity to be?
So there you go. That's our first stop along the way on this journey with integrity. I'm Carla.
I'm DocShellie. We'll see you next time.
It's really an invitation for all of us to reflect with those values in mind. What's your integrity quotient?